What's good, y'all? It's your boy Church Boy V with another video, and today we're gonna react to this video where this attorney is talking on behalf of a pastor years ago that was basically persecuted for preaching the gospel. He gonna share the pastor experience and how the pastor won the case because he was basically persecuted and stuff like that. So this is part one. I'm gonna have part two. So this is part one of the persecuted pastor, and this is the pastor lawyer on the right hand side. So let's get into the video. Hope y'all having a blessed day.
You've been handling a very interesting case surrounding a Seattle pastor who was arrested a couple of years back for reading the Bible in public. He has now been vindicated. Can you tell us a little bit about this story?
I can. It's really a fitting end to an outrageous situation, Billy. What had happened was the city of Seattle effectively made reading the Bible aloud a crime. And it first occurred on June 24, 2022. I don't know if that date sticks out to you, but that was the date that the U.S. Supreme Court rendered the Dobbs decision. That was a decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. So there was this huge rally, protest going on in downtown Seattle. And Pastor Meinke thought this would be a perfect opportunity to share the gospel. So he took his Bible and he goes out there to read the Bible. He has very earnest pro-life beliefs, but that was not his purpose. He really just wanted to share the gospel. So he turned to the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1, and started reading. But it was not received well. Some protesters started to crowd in around him, started saying some inflammatory, derogatory things, made him feel uncomfortable. So he moved off. He didn't want a conflict, so he moved off a few feet away to a new spot. But then at that spot, some protester grabbed his Bible and started ripping the pages out of it right in front of him. Undeterred, Pastor Meinke retrieved a second Bible and just resumed his reading. And he was able to do that for a while. But that's when Antifa members got involved, and they became physical. They started to pick up Pastor Meinke. He tried to grab a nearby sawhorse to keep them from doing that, but they picked up him and the sawhorse, walked over about a block and a half away, and then just dropped Pastor Meinke on the concrete.
Was he fighting back during this at all? I mean, what was he doing while they're picking him up and literally carrying him blocks away?
He really did not want to interact with them. He was trying to avoid any type of physical altercation. So he tried to grab the sawhorse.
Now this remind me in the Bible when when I think it was, I want to say it was Paul, when he was preaching the gospel and they were throwing stone. I think he got stoned, but God didn't allow him to die. So that's like, when we sharing the gospel, of course the devil gonna be upset and angry, and he gonna send out his workers or whatever. But whatever God meant for our bad, it turned out to be good. So I'm not surprised, because we know that persecution is here, and we know that God, Jesus said that they hate him, they gonna hate us that follow him. So we shouldn't be alarmed or shocked when people start tripping and start acting up, because we want to share the truth with them. Stuff gonna come by the grace of God, that his word gonna go forth no matter whatever the enemy try to put, what obstacle the enemy try to put our way. Especially nowadays, people just don't care nowadays. They do anything nowadays, especially if it's something they don't want to hear, or they don't want to hear the truth, because a lot of people don't want to hear the truth nowadays. So it makes sense.
He tried to do what he could do, but once they started picking up, he just went with it, and they dropped him. It hurt, as you would expect. It was on concrete, but he started brushing himself off. And at that point, he was thinking, well, maybe I should go home. but he was convicted to stay. So he found another spot, and he started reading the book of John again. But regrettably, some other protesters came up, and one knocked him down. Another grabbed his shoe for some reason. They just grabbed his shoe. And then finally, after all those things, the police arrived. They were in the vicinity the whole time, but they didn't intercede until this point. And this is where it becomes the most disappointing. The police did not come to help Pastor Meineke. Rather, they told him he was the problem. And so at that point, they said, you have to leave. You have to leave the area.
Sorry, y'all, keep pausing, but this dude got, first of all, his property got vandalized because the person ripped out pages of the Bible. A group of people picked him up physically and threw him on the concrete. And he about to get attacked again, and the police finally comes. But they say, he the problem? Come on now. Come on, wow. What? Wow.
You can no longer speak with people. And Pastor Meineke knew, he just knew he had a First Amendment right to share his views. And so he wasn't just willing to walk away. He tried to reason with the police officers, but they arrested him. And they held him for several hours in a detaining cell until after the abortion rally had ended, really thwarting his opportunity to share the gospel.
Can I interject for a second to ask a question? Because part of this that sounds very disturbing to me, outside of the free speech part of this, which we'll talk about, religious liberty, you had other people physically grabbing a Bible, ripping pages out of it, picking him up, carrying him, dropping him. That would be violence, essentially, in all of those instances, and physical contact. Were any of those people arrested, held accountable, or even talked to by the authorities, as far as you know?
They were not. And that was really disturbing. That all these things happened in front of police officers, and apparently they just let it go, because to our knowledge, no one was even addressed. Certainly no one was arrested. And it's because the police officers, pursuant to their policy, figured that it was Pastor Meineke that was the problem. And so because of that stance, they only addressed him and him alone.
What was their rationale for arresting him? I mean, on what charge were they essentially holding him?
I built my credit with my rent payment for free, thanks to Sally.
I stumbled on this game-changing credit building app.
This man getting beat up literally.
They had a policy in place based on a law of obstructing a police officer, and what they based it on is they had this policy that if someone is speaking and there is a hostile reaction to it, then they will ask the speaker to leave or to stop the activity. And if they do not, then the police officer will ask that person to move. They refer to it as a time, place, and manner, which typically is something that would be constitutional. But the way they employed this terminology is they would require the speaker to leave, so he would not have an audience at all. He couldn't speak to anyone. And if the speaker refuses, then that person is committing a crime. So it's really kind of a backwards way of addressing.
We're going to stop right there. But that's crazy. But it make these crazy laws. That's why we got to pray. And we got to continue to pray for our brothers and sisters out there in the world. Because this is crazy. I'm not surprised, but it's still crazy that he go to jail. He ain't hurt nobody. Peacefully sharing the word. And people are upset and they physically harm him and they don't go to jail, but he go to jail. That's ridiculous, but I'm not surprised. But this is part 1. Y'all go check out part 2. But we got some praying to do, y'all. We got some praying, and we got to continue to share the gospel no matter what happened to us, man. It just remind me of things of Paul and Silas when they got thrown in jail for preaching the gospel. So it's not something surprising. So hope y'all enjoyed the video. Y'all know I love you. You know the Most High God love y'all. And y'all check out part 2 of this video. I will be posting after this. And y'all take care. Peace.